can't late. You'll have to bear with me because I am a Zoom person. And not, sorry, a Teams person, not a Zoom person. So I'm fiddling away trying to get people in and one thing and another at the same time. So yeah, thanks for joining us. So what happened was we've been using CPOMS as a college for, I think this will be coming into our 4th year now. And when John put a message on the mail to say, is anybody using it and integrating it with EBS? I did that, yes, I am, and hence this is where we are today. You say yes, and everybody jumps onto it. So I'm Irene Farragher. I'm the Learner Support Manager at Lakes College up in Cumbria in the Lake District, where it is actually sunny today, so we're doing all right. So what I thought was I'll give a bit of an overview of our experience and where we are, and then I'm quite happy for people to ask me questions and don't ask it technical side. As I said to John, the setup of it and everything is done in the background, but I know that we've not had issues, so I can sort of pretty much, and then if I need to put you in contact with anyone from our end that did the setup, I'll get the Wizzy people to give you a shout, because definitely that end isn't my expertise at all. So as I say, we've been using CPOMS now. I think we're in our 4th year now. We use EBS alongside it, and I can honestly say we've never looked back from when we got it in. Prior to that, we used to do our own we worked from spreadsheets and had our own internal systems, and we started to look between CPOMS and My Concern that I know a lot of people use as well. And what we did was we spoke to our feeder schools, our local schools, and all of our local schools, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3, use CPOMS. So it was a bit of a no-brainer for us on that side of things, that if we could get the information from the schools, because I don't know about you guys, but that's the most difficult part. You get to December and you find out that you've got a learner that's had a massive safeguarding history that nobody told you about, and it would have been so useful right back at the start. So the integration, as far as I'm concerned, went really smoothly with EBS. It works on the learner numbers, and every single learner that's enrolled with you gets fed into the CPOMS system. So even if they've not got a safeguarding record from school, or they've not got anything at the moment with you, they'll still be in there and you'll be available to start a record off. When you get your learners in at the start of the year, you get a list of learners that are coming to you that have got safeguarding records from your schools, and you request that information from your feeder schools and they'll okay to send it across. Some of them we've had a couple of, GDPR and could they do it and one thing and another, and then they've got permission and that's all gone well. In our eyes, I think if it's a safeguarding issue, it's contractual. So that whole GDPR thing doesn't come into it. It's about the safeguards and well-being of that young person. So we've had some, you tend to find when you get the schools records, a lot of the schools use it for everything, from somebody not having any dinner money to, just about forgetting a pen. And if you've got a learner that's gone to a primary school that far back that's got a record as well, you'll get everything there, and they go as far as trip over in the playground gets put onto CPOMS. So some learners, you could end up with 20 odd pages of stuff that maybe a lot of it isn't relevant to yourselves, but it's more about a quick scan through. From a safeguarding point of view, I manage the welfare team in college, so they all have access to CPOMS to add and read everything about their learners. They're all allocated an area, and they can all look at the learners in their area and add learners in their area. The safeguarding team have certain levels of access, so to some members of the safeguarding team can only view certain things. You can limit your access to people, so whereas as the deputy safeguarding lead I can see everything, some people have to request access if they want to see something in particular. It's very, very simple to use. Everything can be on there. I know there's been quite a bit of chat about people setting up categories. What you do is you set up your own categories and give them what they call, CPOMS call them lozenges, that you can tag various safeguarding incidents, various pieces of information. all the bits and pieces that you need, and you set those up yourself. That's ever changing. We're still sort of adding things onto there now, and change things as and when we need them. From a reporting point of view, you can then, obviously, you can run a report for your safeguarding meetings, every learner you've got on the safeguarding register. You can run a report on various lozenges and categories that you've got, so you'd be able to see how many learners you've got that you're counting down as peer-on-peer abuse, that are in the part of a police investigation. You can easily pull that all together. We also record on there all our children in care, all our children looked after as well, and we record them onto that system as well, so that it just keeps it all tidy and in that one place. From a training point of view with CPOMS, they are so good at training. You get a monthly newsletter. They do all sorts of different bits of safeguarding training, as well as every single week there's a recorded training session on the admin side. There's a recorded training session on adding a category. Everything you need to do, there's a recorded session. And I can honestly say, in the years we've been using it, I've not had to actually ring them and say I can't work something, or I don't know how something works. All that information just seems to be there, and it's quite easy to use. So from our point of view, it's just been a win-win, really. And that's our bit of a journey with it. But I know, I'm conscious I'm yaddering on, and people probably had questions and want to know things. So I'm happy to let people speak. I'll go quiet.
Can I ask a question about reporting functionality, Irene? As I said at the beginning, we've currently got My Concern, and it's the reporting functionality really, where I don't feel it's as sophisticated as it possibly could be, particularly when you're wanting to compare year on year and different genders, and to be able to have it all in one table would be really helpful. And there's a lot of manual intervention with My Concern, which is kind of defeats the object, doesn't it? So are you quite happy with the kind of the whole spectrum of reports that you get out the other side?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a sort of preset amount of reports that your standards that we would all probably want, but you can actually create your own bespoke reporting as well if you needed something specific. I won't try and pretend to be an admin genius. I have somebody who does that for me as well. I did try and get her to come with me. No, so you can create your own bespoke reporting. So yeah, so from that point of view, everything that we need, you can literally tell it to do without having to input it or filter it and factor it out. Yeah.
Thank you.
Irene, can I ask a couple of questions?
Yeah,
Hiya, from South Devon College. So when you first started using CPOMS, did you give access for inputting to all staff across college, or did you go for a sort of smaller?
Yeah, we were very frightened at first about what you get, because I think you've got, depending who you let have access, different people's view of what's an actual safeguarding concern and what should go on there tends to differ, doesn't it? So in our first rollout, we literally had it exclusive to, there was 4 of us did everything. And we just rolled it out in quite a small way. We were the only people that inputted. Everything had to come through us. Then, as I say, I've got a team of 9 progress and welfare coaches. So they were sort of the next obvious step, really. They're all level 3 safeguarding trained, and they've all got, their own cohort of learners. So they pretty much manage it, across the board, really, and add all their own updates. Prior to a safeguarding meeting, they'll add their update with that learner. So yes, it was a slow rollout that allowed a few of us, and gradually I think we've got more confident, as to who we let put things on there. So yeah, take it slowly, I would say, otherwise you'll end up with a load of stuff to regroup. Yeah.
Thank you. The other thing I wondered was whether you would be able to share with us, because it sounds like you've done quite a bit of development work with the categories, what sort of categories you've set up in your college with the was it lozenges?
Lozenges, yeah, I'm quite happy to do that. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll sort of pull them together and do an example, and I'll get Jackie to put it out there to everybody so you can see what they are. Yeah, no problem. Lucy, you've got your hand up.
Hiya, I'm from York College, and we've just brought it in, and it's just getting set up at the moment. So we've started putting all the categories and everything. But when we had our initial training with with CPOMS themselves, one of the categories that they had on there was behaviour. And so that kind of threw us in the sense of, so what we also have Pro Monitor. Do you have Pro Monitor as well?
We use eTracker.
Right, okay.
Pro Monitor, yeah. So we would generally keep those behavioural categories. I think that's one of those sort of tag-ons from that school environment where I said they put everything, you know, from a fall in the playground to no pen. So we tend to use, if it's purely just behaviour and it's an issue on that day, we would use eTracker for that. We would only put that behaviour onto CPOMS if that learner already had a record and we knew there was other issues that, you know, might be have an impact, or that behaviour is as a consequence of that safeguarding issue.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're trying to, because we're at the moment trying to kind of gauge how best to instruct staff in terms of the use of the two systems. Although, like you, at the moment, we probably won't have staff have access to CPOMS per se, but to understand kind of where Pro Monitor ends and CPOMS starts. And like so obviously on Pro Monitor, we're tracking things such as disciplinaries. If we do a disciplinary with a student, often, or not often, but you know, there could be from a disciplinary, a safeguarding issue arises. So essentially, do you keep all your disciplinaries and things in eTracker and then just use CPOMS to report the actual safeguarding? Yeah.
But if it was a learner that was on our safeguarding register that had a disciplinary, we'll put it onto CPOMS as well.
To say that, that it would, I see.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't see your name on there, but you say, yeah. Go on.
Me?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Frances Gibbons from Coventry College. Hello. We went to the NAMSS conference and we talked about CPOMS, and I did thank you very much for doing this because I tried to arrange a meeting because we're on CPOMS. We've been on since November 2019, and I actually met up with Kieran McKee from Leicester College and talked about it all. We use Pro Solutions and Pro Monitor. It was hard work setting it up, I must admit, originally, and getting people to accept it, obviously, because I came in and said we did need it. My favourite bit is the vault, where you can put all the documents, disciplinaries and everything else. Totally agree about what is safeguarding, what isn't safeguarding, and the concerns around Pro Monitor and Pro Solutions when do you use it. We give restricted access to everybody so they can put a concern on and we filter them, but we cut right back on the categories because it was quite difficult when we were reporting what to report. So that was an issue. So many bonuses and positives on it, but I think it'd be great to have a college network group for CPOMS. Schools have it, so it'd be nice if we had it too. Okay.
Yeah. And it is that thing. It's that the categories. It is about getting them right, isn't it? Otherwise, you'll end up with everything. But I think you've got to keep your behaviour and your safeguarding.
Can I ask you one thing? Attendance. How do you do attendance? That's my biggest bugbear.
Right, we don't do it through CPOMS.
Yeah,
no, we do it through eTracker. So
because you can't, can you? Because schools do it very differently. And I think if CPOMS actually focus more on colleges exist as well as just schools, that's the only downfall I'd say about it. They don't enough.
Yeah.
And I'd like attendance on there. I really would. It'd make it a lot easier in my life if we had got it. But obviously it's not there at the moment.
Yeah. So no, anyone else? I think, like you said, Francis, the document vault is the best place ever, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because anything you get, so if you go to any strategy meetings, you get minutes from those, any TAF meetings, I just right away just upload that document to that learner and it's all in one place and it's safe.
Absolutely amazing. And the library as well, because obviously we did our Keeping Children Safe through the library and we could check who'd read it and who hadn't. And, you know, when they turn around and say, oh, I don't know who the Laddo is, I think, whoa, go back and read it again. So, yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
Can I ask, Irene, so if we were looking at getting it in for next academic year, is it too late now, would you say? How long does it sort of take to set up initially to have, you know, a system that the schools could send the information across from?
I want to say you'd probably be pushing it to get it sorted for September. I think I want to say we were sort of 3 or 4 months at it, getting it right, getting the learners fed in. We started off, so I think we did a bit of a mid-year thing, which wasn't probably ideal, but all the learners were already enrolled and sorted. So once we got all those details, our Wizzy IT guys sent all the learner numbers, and it worked on the learner number initially, and that all got fed in there. So yeah, I think it might be a struggle to get it in for September. Yeah, oh, Lucy. Thanks, Lucy. So yeah, any more?
I think what you guys said regarding the attendances, that cropped up in the demo, because obviously it'd be nice to get it all under one sort of system and software. So maybe it is worth, like Francis said, is pushing back to CPOMS and say, look, you're branching out into colleges now, so you need to, maybe if we all kind of pitch in together and say, we're all after this, can you do something to assist us? Maybe it's something they can bring in the future or something like that.
Yeah, I think that would be good, John, because at the moment I have to go into another system, check the attendance, and then I just add it into my report for our safeguarding meeting where the attendance is not learner. But yeah, if it did fall through, that, you know, follow through with that would be good. Yeah.
Okay, well, if we decide to go, then we can raise it up and say that we've having discussions with other colleges and we're all thinking this would be of benefit. Is there anything you can do about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Natalie, I think I cut across you then.
No, I was just going to, I think, Francis, you just mentioned about the library, getting people to read documents. How does that work?
I have an awful lot of documents in the library, but you can allocate the document for all the staff to read and send an alert out. And once they've read it, it comes up with their name to say they've read it. So you've got evidence, obviously, for Ofsted that they've read that document. They don't see everything in the library. I thought they did actually to start with, but they don't. They just see what you allocate to them to read. So if you've got an example, I don't know if I said I've done a prevent strategy, I don't know, the action plan, for example, and I just wanted the prevent strategy group to read it, I could put it in there and then they could read that directly from there. It saves you sharing everything everywhere else, really. It's a really good bit of kit, that is, really is.
Yeah, it is. I don't know what you all do. We have a college counsellor that's a member of staff as well. So she puts all of the counselling notes from every meeting she has with every learner onto there, and that's turned into something really useful. Sort of from you know, if there's ever a police investigation. I've done one this morning that they wanted the counselling records, and prior to that, we used to, you know, she used to have a book, and then we used to upload it and keep it in a file, and it had to be, you know, under lock and key. And it's just so much easier for that you can go in and see every conversation that's taken place in those counselling appointments as well.
I think as well, like you're saying, the PDFs are ideal, aren't they? Because you can actually anonymise them as well. And when the police come in, it's so easy because everything's in chronological order. And as long as you get everyone using it that way, it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Get everyone using it properly there, Francis, or did they eventually sort of slowly adapt to it? I think you're muted.
Sorry, grammatically, I would say is the first thing, and explaining people to use initials, you know, not full names. There's no need to use full names, but actually, because you can actually anonymise it, it's a lot better way of doing it. And obviously, when Ofsted came in, we could anonymise everything and let them see how the processes worked, which was ideal as well.
Brilliant.
And the webinars, I love their webinars. You know, the fact they record them, they're great. They can go onto our library as well, so that's good.
That's fantastic. And Ofsted are happy with the whole CPOMS and how it works and everything?
Well, when I first started, 2 weeks after I started back here again, Ofsted came in and I said we were doing that and they were quite impressed. So when they came back again, we could say, look, we've got it. It's up and running. What do you think? So that was good.
Oh, brilliant. That's good to know.
Mm.
Yeah, I think when we were Ofsted, it was quite in the early days of it with us when we were last Ofsteded, but yeah, I think they were, you know, they were really impressed with how it all worked, and I think having that background as well from the previous school is just perfect, because even if there's nothing when that learner comes to you, it's really interesting sometimes in the, you know, there's been nothing and something else will happen and you go back into it and you can see exactly why, you know, that's happened. You can also, another thing that I find quite useful is you can tag together a group of learners. So if you've got one learner that's the initial problem, but then there's other learners involved in that activity or what's going on, you can actually link them all together, and everything you put on appear on each one of them. So you're not having to put it on 4 times. If you put something on learner A and there's B and C involved, it will go into their record as well if you've got them tagged in as part of that situation.
And I think the fact that you can alert people, isn't it, without everybody else seeing it, I think that's great. So they don't have to have full access to read something. As long as you alert them, then they can read it then. There's no excuse not to know the information. They've just got to put it on in the first place. So.
Can I just ask, oh, I'm not on mute, am I? We've just commissioned eSafe. I don't know if anybody else is using eSafe, but I'm right in thinking that it does integrate, doesn't it, directly into CPOMS? So you've got that one-stop shop of referrals. So that's helpful, isn't it?
Yeah, we use eSafe as well, Carla, although I don't know if you're aware, but they've been bought out.
I am.
Well done. It's created me a nightmare. I could have cried.
Well, yes.
But yes, and they have told me, I have met with them at Smoothwall, and I have sort of been quite direct with, I'm only staying with you if nothing's changing. Yeah, so what will happen is if you get an eSafe alert for a learner who's been, they're concerned about what they're typing, keystrokes and what have you, yeah, it'll go right into their CPOMS report as well. So that is really
Interestingly, we were with Smoothwall already and had just commissioned eSafe, decided to move over, and then within a couple of weeks of signing the dotted line, we get this news.
yeah.
It's not great. It's not great.
No, it wasn't. No, I had a meeting with them the other day, and yeah.
Yeah, there's not much really to be said, is there? Yeah.
No, as long as it all works, that's the thing. Yeah.
Exactly, that's all we want, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that they're in a position, they want us to sort of roll it over, change it over quite early, and I've said no, because they've offered me staff training in August. So yeah, but hopefully that will work. But yeah, that has been great using eSafe alongside it. So if there's ever an issue, you know, computer wise with the learner, it goes right into the CPOMS report as well. So you can see all
that. Just a quick question. You know, you said with the integration, it all works fine. So did they come in, they sorted it all out, and since then there's been no issues in terms of new learners, adding new learners each year, pulling all the information through? It's all just worked swimmingly with EBS. This is our only kind of one concern about it, obviously.
Yeah, no, it all seems to have worked really well in the background. We didn't even come in. It literally ended, it's literally your IT guys sending over them the special list.
The IT stuff.
Yeah, sure, it's got a technical name, but no, to be honest, that was the one thing that I'm always a little bit skeptical when they say, oh no, and all your learners will magically appear, but they did, and every year they follow through. So yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are, Francis, on that, but we've never had a problem from that.
I totally agree. I mean, I have problems with certain schools not transferring, which really and it's specific schools as well. It's quite amazing, and we have 59 educational establishments that actually come through to us, which is quite an amazing amount. I was going to say there's an import status on the top right of CPOMS, isn't there, where you can see whether it's healthy or not. And when it's not been, and I've said to MIS, they already know, because they're better than I am at anything like that. They're aware of it because it updates overnight, doesn't it? And that's a good thing. It actually the systems talk to each other and update. We've had a couple of issues with CPOMS where it's gone down, but that's been sorted quite quickly. And we really appreciated it then when we hadn't got it. I didn't realise I was actually cut and pasting information onto Word documents, and I thought I never want to go there again. So really it's not good. It wasn't positive to have that happen, but it was worth it. I don't know how you felt about that, but oh gosh.
Yeah, no, and I think for us during lockdown, it was just, that wouldn't have been without it during lockdown, you know, because all of my team were keeping contact by the phone with our learners, and anything they were concerned about, they were just putting right on there. So there was no need to, you know, say, oh, who's missed something and what have you. So yeah, it's been a total, I can't praise it. We've had no problems. Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
That's fantastic. Thanks for that. It's been really enlightening and useful, and good to hear people whose experiences, and especially nothing but positive experiences, is always very beneficial. I think we can go away and just make a few discussions with our team and then make our final decision.
Yeah, and I think someone was saying at the start, I'm not good with the cost, but the IT department pay my cost on this. But from my point of view, I think it depends how many learners you've got. Is that right, Francis? It's how many learners you've got that are.
Yeah, it does. But what I did say, because all our learners, I noticed Leicester College don't put their adults on, but they've got 4,500 16 to 18. So they've got 20,000 other, I can't believe how many they've got across the city. So because of the costing, they don't put them all on. However, we've got about 3,500 16 to 18-year-olds. We've got all ours on, but I did say to CPOMS, we don't use it for all our adults. Okay, they might be there, but we don't use the system for that. So I think I paid for about 4,000 or something like that. It goes up in grades, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So again, schools are okay because they haven't got that amount of learners. They've got to accept the fact we've got a lot more. You know, they've got a, I mean, it's amazing. People don't seem to realise, do they, with colleges? And I think that's where CPOMS have got to sort of change around and realise, you know, colleges are a big thing for them. They're very lucky to have us on board. So use us and, you know, promote us properly, really.
Good point. I like it.
Yeah, so I think that's probably, I don't know if there's anything else I can sort of say to put everyone thinking, oh, do you know what I really need? We should be paid by them, I think, Francis.
No, you should be on commission.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
could we set a network up? I mean, I would love it if anyone would like to.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Yeah. If you want to drop me an email, Francis, and we can sort something out.
Be lovely. Yes, thanks. Yeah,
That'd be great. I don't know if you can share anything in the way of reporting. I appreciate you might, the anonymity, I can't even say the word, put my teeth in. You know, I'd really like to see that. And I don't know if they provide like a demo of a suite of reports or anything like that, do they?
I want to say I'll have, what I'll do is I'll have a bit of a ratch around, and I'll try and get the sort of our list of categories as we have them, and I'll see what we can, what Kate, my admin, can do from a point of showing something, you know, that she's got and anonymous, and then I'll send it to Jackie and see if we can put it on the network.
That'd be lovely. Thank you.
As well.
Thanks very much.
See what happens.
That's been really helpful today. Thank you ever so much.
No problem. I won't, because I know we're all sort of busy, so we needn't stay for an hour just to go over it. But I'm quite happy, you know, as I said to John when he emailed me, I'm quite happy to answer anybody's questions. I have this habit of opening my mouth and then thinking, oh God, I should have kept quiet there.
But the webinars, can we share the webinars?
I was just thinking that, Francis.
Yeah, that might be an idea because they're really good, aren't they? And on the reporting and everything, they give you an overview of everything.
They do, yeah. I'll try and pull that off, and I'll send it to Jackie and see if we can put something out there. Yeah.
And we've got a young lady, Rachel, that's with me today, and she's our admin supervisor, so she has to know about it all. So that's quite handy as well.
Yeah,
that's our link here.
Yeah, but thank you everybody, and say, Francis, if you want to give me a shout, we can see if we can set something up and, you know, pull something together, and I'll try and get something there and send it to Jackie. But for anybody who sort of wanted to re-listen, hopefully it's been helpful and it is recorded.
Yeah, it's been really helpful. Thank you, Irene.
All right.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Irene.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.